Good news or bad news? Amos Yee, who is currently in the custody of the much-hated Immigration and Customs Enforcement, better known as ICE, is now facing deportation from the United States. And interestingly, not a sound can be heard from the anti-ICE protesters to free Amos Yee. On the 4th of February, a blog post allegedly penned by the 27-year-old Amos Yee was directed at the Singapore government. In it, he stated the reasons for him not to be allowed to return to his country of origin.
If I get deported back to Singapore, I have to spend another few years in jail for not serving Singapore's mandatory military when I was 17. The only way that can be prevented is if Singapore government refuse to issue travel documents for me to return. After which, I can either be deported to a third country or file what's called a habeas corpus, and in 9 months, be let out in immigration jail and remain in America. I recommend you don't issue those travel documents, not just for me, but mostly for you. Because as much as the opposition politicians in Singapore don't want to admit, in the next 10, 20 years at their present state, they have absolutely no chance of getting a majority in the general election. With their incompetence and uncharisma, they don't pose any threats. They suck. You know it, I know it. So why in the fuck would you risk jeopardizing that comfortable political position by letting me back in Singapore? You think I'm just going to quietly accept my punishment and agree to serve in the military? I'm going to continue to swerve the military. There will be numerous court dates, me coming in and out of prison. Each time I'll maybe write a blog post here, make a video there, condemning the military, condemning the government. All the attentions and negative press you and I will receive. It'll be amazing. Now, of course, I'm aware that my public reputation isn't all that good. There's a possibility that I get arrested and barely anyone cares. But why even take the chance? If you let me go, some people might think you are weak. You didn't take the chance to punish me. So what? You're not going to use those because of that. But if you insist on being a big bully and arresting me, politically you have nothing to gain but everything to lose. Call me naive, but I think if I really put my mind to it, I can topple Singapore's 60 years dictatorship. I know you regretted arresting me 10 years ago, and all the negative national and international press you received from shining light on the human rights abusing hellhole Singapore for imprisoning a 16-year-old who just expressed his political opinions. The success of a dictatorship is contingent on fucking people over without people knowing. Am I right? You can choose to underestimate me, and I think after a dozen public protests and a lost election later, it'll dawn on you, damn, this person defended pedophilia. His reputation was deep in water. Why did we let him back into Singapore and resurrect his popularity again? Why? When that day comes, even though I may be in prison, the cockles in my heart will be warmed.
Oh, hello everyone. In case you got transported to some fairyland by Amos Yee's post, welcome back to the channel. It's time we roast the absurd and delusional, this narcissistic pedophile who's going to get shipped back to Singapore after a long holiday in the US. Now, just a quick recap. Amos Yee is that guy who made headlines in Singapore by scolding LKY, making fun of religions, got jailed for it, fled to the US seeking asylum, got arrested by the US authorities for grooming an underaged girl, and now, surprise, he's facing deportation. Now, instead of quietly packing his bags and getting himself ready for Changi, he penned an open letter to the Singapore authorities warning them about how dangerous he is to them. But any fool can tell that he's pathetically begging not to be brought back. Now, he must have thought that he could pass off as a revolutionary supernova who's going to blow up Singapore's system. But let's analyze his pathetic post. So, in his latest post, which I'm sure he typed up while admiring his own reflection in a pond, Amos Yee lays out his master plan. Now, right from the start, he dropped some advice for the government to not issue travel documents for his return. He suggested that he could get deported to some third country or file a habeas corpus and chill in some US immigration jail for 9 months before getting released to stay in America, claiming that they would have by then no reason to detain him after he had served his sentence. But here's the best part. A quote, "I recommend you don't issue those travel documents, not just for me, but mostly for you." Unquote. Mostly for you, Singapore? 有冇搞錯啊? This is where the delusions kick in, folks. Amos Yee is out there acting like he's the answer to having an opposition become the government in Singapore. He's convinced himself that he's bigger than the entire opposition. He tells the opposition this, quote, "As much as the opposition politicians in Singapore don't want to admit, in the next 10 or 20 years, at their present state, they have absolutely no chance of getting a majority in the general election. With their incompetence and uncharisma, they don't pose any threats. They suck. You know it, and I know it." Unquote. Then he warns the government, quote, "So why in the would you risk jeopardizing that comfortable political position by letting me back to Singapore? You think I'm just going to quietly accept my punishment and agree to serve in the military? Ha! I'm going to continue to swerve the military. There will be numerous court dates, me coming in and out of prison each time. I'll maybe write a blog post here, make a video there, condemning the military, condemning the government. All the attentions and negative press you and I will receive, it'll be amazing." Unquote. It'll be amazing. So he thinks he's gonna waltz back into Singapore and turn it into a battleground with General Amos Yee leading a one-clown army. Can you believe this guy? Even if he could somehow get the time and the means to make videos and blog posts to discredit the government, can he even dream of toppling the government with his foolish antics? Now, if he thinks he can, then all the more he should come back. As PM Amos Yee, he could abolish NS and bring down the age of consent. We'll have pedophiles rooting for him. But seriously, folks, he's barking up the wrong tree. Instead, Amos Yee should sound out the anti-ICE warriors who have been out in full force lately. You know, those passionate protesters who chain themselves to buses and chant, "No one is illegal," every time some foreigner is facing deportation. Amos is literally the poster child for their cause. Or is he? Now, he sought asylum, it was granted, and now they want to kick him out. Shouldn't the wokies say something? Maybe if Amos Yee could find some ignorant woke folks who don't know about his conviction and his violation of parole conditions, he might get a noisy bunch fighting for him to stay. Or maybe instead of writing to the Singapore government, he should have written to Billie Eilish.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Now, like most Singaporeans, I don't miss him at all. Perhaps we should start raising funds to send him on his next holiday destination. So drop me some comments and suggestions. See you in the next video.